The biggest problem I'm facing personally is resources. Like, and I'm not even gonna say from just a financial aspect of not enough money, but there's really big, crazy ideas in my head, and I really want to execute them perfectly as any artist would, but I don't yet have the resources and or know how to utilize the current resources I have or obtain those resources, because anything you want is out there or it's already within you. You can go and get it. So that's been my biggest personal issue, is looking for trying to get beats and owning my music. That's been my biggest issue.
So when you say resources, quick follow-up, it's not just acquiring resources but also utilizing the resources you have available.
Exactly, because a big thing I had to tell myself was some of the best ideas didn't have $1 million budgets. They were done running gun, spur of the moment, and I want to create moments like that, but as much as I am spontaneous in my creation, I'm also very calculated, extremely calculated. Sometimes a little bit too much, but that's what I'm saying about looking how to gain the resources for my large-scale, crazy movie ideas, and then utilizing the resources I do have to start the path to making those ideas happen. You don't just start from no videos to fucking big crane shots and a bunch of background actors. You don't start with that. You gotta work your way up, and that's where I'm at. Goons! You know what I'm saying? Goons everywhere. But that's, yeah.
Overall, it's time management, and when I say time management, you know, that encompasses a lot of different things, like you said, availability, you know, prioritizing the right things, not committing to too many things, because there's a million things that we can do, and then also, you know, just hustling. Like, you know, I feel like I have a lot of downtime where I'm not doing anything, and you know, I'm Hustler of the Year, so that really hurts me, you know, when I've spent a day, you know, not doing as much as I feel like I can. But also, you know, it's important to give myself grace and, you know, take track of what I am doing, and also the rehabilitation I'm doing to be able to do that in that mental space where I am making good music. But yeah, time management, you know, there's a lot more that goes into being an artist than just, you know, making the music. You know, you got to make the content, you got to schedule out the rollouts, you know, you got to, and then, you know, I want to change the world, so I don't think music alone is the way to do that. I'm also trying to organize people and start nonprofits and different activist groups, and, you know, juggling all of that, definitely the #1 problem with being an artist. But it's also a really fun problem to solve, and it's really beautiful, and it's very rewarding to make progress in that direction.
I would say the biggest challenge right now that I'm facing personally as an artist is getting my music heard. I know a lot of people, and you know, they love me, they're great supporters, but for some reason it seems really hard to get someone to kind of click and listen to my music. So that is, you know, it's like, how do we engage? Like, I engage people by putting on events and performing and the content that I create, but it still feels like it's just not enough to be seen and to get noticed by the right people who can, you know, help to uplift me to greater opportunities. So, you know, I feel like I'm doing all the work, but I'm just not being seen for some reason, or maybe it's just not time yet. But I mean, overall, I would definitely say really just going into this not knowing, you know, like, I don't think there's like a school for like how to be an artist, you know. So the hardest part is like learning how to monetize off my craft. You know, I've invested thousands already into my music, and it still doesn't feel like it's going anywhere at the moment, but I'm pretty confident that my consistency will like just shine through, and as long as I keep working at it, I know eventually the right people, the right crowds, the right fans are gonna like hear my music and really like, you know, just desire to get to know me as well, because I know a lot of people like would like to get to know me, but unfortunately, because a lot of my time is spent working or creating, you know, I feel like lately I just haven't had the time to be like out as much as I'd like to be. So I would definitely say, like, if I had those resources and a little bit more education to kind of push my music to that next level, to get heard, to gain new fans, I think that would help my career a lot.
I think making music is very easy. Making music is very fun for me, but going about the business of it is very exhausting. A lot of people have a crab in a bucket mentality, cliques, you know, groups, whatever it may be. And just the type of person I am, I'm like a everybody eats type of guy. So it's very exhausting, and I frequently find myself going back and forth between the idea of like, okay, how serious is this music? Should I be investing in it this heavily? Because the business part is so tiring. It makes me not want to make music. So the same emotions that keep me up, driven at night to make music consistently over and over again, are the same emotions that hold me back and make me not want to make music, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. So, in short, the business part of it is kind of draining your love of the game a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, the idea of taking it serious and everything that comes with it to make a living off of it is tiring. But it's also tiring doing my 9 to 5 and then doing this 6 to whatever. So, I don't know.
Do you see I know I said it was just going to be one question, but this is an interesting conversation, because I think a lot of people, especially spectators, look at performances and look at people putting out music and just think, oh, it's just all fun, right? And when you are getting emotionally invested into art, which you should be if you want to make quality art, and then on the flip side, you're having to justify like putting yourself out there from a business, like, oh, you're only allowed to make music if you're making money off it. You're only allowed to do this if you're able to capitalize on it in some monetary fashion.
Yeah.
And that can drain you. Do you feel that you are going to be able to overcome this, or if you're not able to overcome that like mentality of this business shit sucks, would you continue making art just for yourself?
Yeah, so I think there's two options, and the first option would be to say fuck the business side of it and do it for fun and post whenever I want and don't worry about budgets and advertisement and getting on stage. Just let all those things come to me. But I do feel, as you know, a person that's about to start their own family here, you know, a baby on the way, that anything I do in my spare time has to be purposeful. And I guess it could be just to make me happy, I get that, but I make music before I play video games because I see some sort of return on investment in music, right? So if I did go about it the business way, I think the only option, and it's really messing with me coming to this conclusion, but I think the only realistic option is to like just remove myself emotionally from that aspect of music, which I hate to do. Like, I feel like emotions should guide everything in your art. The decisions that you make with your music, partnerships, I feel like emotions should guide all that. But I think I'm going to genuinely have to start looking at it from a outsider point of view and not really getting my feelings involved and just saying business is business. And I hate that mentality, hate that phrase, I really do. But I think that's the only way I can function, safeguarding my emotions and how I feel about perceived friends, family, people I thought that were there to support me, but really was just transactional. I think that's the only way to safeguard my heart and continue to do what I love and possibly make a living out of it. And just be a robot.
The biggest challenge, I would say, is figuring out my story, like, with this artistry. Because it's one thing to make music. Oh, my fault. It's one thing to make music and hop on stage and shit. But like, I've been doing a lot of research as of late, and it says like figure out your story, figure out what you're trying to show to the people. So it's been that, like trying to hone in on what makes me the artist, you know what I'm saying? Makes me the artist that I am, makes me interesting to the crowd, makes me inclined to the next level, and you know, putting that to the paper really. So yeah, it's just constant planning, constant writing, constant just thought, meditation, getting ready for the action. So it's no big challenges. That's what's funny. It's like the more I think about it, it's like shit, everything that I think about would be a challenge is just everyday things. So they just kind of come and go because everything will pass and everything does pass. So, yeah. Right now it's just trying to figure out how to get my story more feasible to the crowd so that I can be more relatable to my future fan base.